This is a great time of the year to think about the flowering kale and flowering cabbage. These are the plants that Disney calls the plants of the century. And look here, you can always tell the difference because the cabbage, the flowering cabbage, looks like a regular cabbage. It begins to form a head. And the flowering kale, on the other hand, has the kale foliage or leafy plant. Now this is the white flowering cabbage, the ornamental one, and this is the flowering kale. This is just one that's called feather purple, and it's really pretty, isn't it? Some of the fine foliages give a great texture in the garden. Now, the important thing is these have been grown in the greenhouse, so we don't know what's been sprayed on them. Although these are edible, I would not suggest that you eat them. If you grow them yourself, then you know what you put on them, and that's a totally different situation. But these plants are often used to dress kind of as a garnish on plates at dinners and luncheons, of course. So they're nice plants for that purpose. Now this is another flowering kale. This is simply just called purple flowering kale. And this one here is called snow prince. And by the way, these all intensify with color as it gets cooler in the season. And then here's a very pretty one that's called coral queen. And it also is a flowering kale. So as you can see, there are flowering kale and flowering cabbages. Let me show you the important thing I think with these is that you plant them properly in the garden. And you'll notice here already I planted a flowering cabbage in this particular case. And you can see here the difference also. This is a gallon-sized container and this is just a 4-inch container. One other thing before I plant this too. Very often some of the bottom foliages will die like that. Simply pick them off. And when you plant this plant it a little deeper into the soil, and that will solve the problem of that long stem. And that's exactly what the case is here. You can see this has lost some of the lower foliage. So we'll take it out of the container. Ooh, look at that root system. We have to massage that or loosen it so those roots can go into the surrounding soil. And then what I'm going to do here is to dig a good planting soil. This is pretty good soil, by the way, to begin. But I will plant this one deeper because of the bare stalk. I'll put some peat moss and processed manure, which I've already mixed together there, in the planting hole. And then I'm going to put a little bit of organic pelleted fish fertilizer as well. And I'll mix that in because we want good planting soil to begin with. That's really important. Then all we have to do is to set that plant like so, pull the soil in around, and we've got a nice planting of flowering kale and flowering cabbage, and the different colors really blend nicely together. And now's a good time to plant them.